Hello, fam. Very excited to record this video for you today, and I hope that we have a great time together. Yesterday, I was with my coach and mentor, and we had a really good time, like a really, really good time. And I just said to myself as I was driving back home, by the way, when I get a chance to drive myself and be alone in the car, to my friends and husband's irritation, I always, have such a great time of introspection, of thinking and meditating and coming up with my own answers, right? So as I was driving home myself, I said, I'm going to definitely have this conversation with my community and share some of the big lessons that I learned spending the day with her yesterday. She's a thoroughly amazing woman, and I love her to bits. When I'm done with this video, you get a chance to tell me who my coach and mentor is, and you can put it in the comment section. If you get it right, let's see what you might be able to receive from me. Anyway, I had such a great time. I asked a lot of questions. She gave me very hard, honest feedback, and she shared with me gems that I want to share with you today because they were just so good. And they spoke to some of my deepest convictions already, some of the things that I already share and teach. Like I have my phone here, I've got my notes all around me, just because there's so many things that I wrote from yesterday and so many things that were validated while I was with her. Anyway, I'm going to run you through the 5 big insights that I want to share with you today from my time yesterday with my coach and mentor. By the way, I did a video a long time ago about the difference between a coach and a mentor. And you can check that out on my Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I don't know what you're doing. Anyway, because a person is your coach doesn't mean that you're a mentor. But in this case, I mean it when I say that, she's both my coach and my mentor. And that can happen in some case. And that's what is the reality in this particular case. So I want to share with you 5 things that she taught me yesterday, 5 things that she modeled, some with words and some without words, that I feel like would be a great way for you to end this amazing weekend, especially if you're watching it today, Friday, 25th September 2020. The first thing that I learned was just the sheer gift of coaching, right? Coaching is a gift. And I know that because of the proliferation of coaches today, you might find yourself sometimes in a place where you feel like, what are they going to say to me? Like, I don't need a coach. You do need a coach. Sometimes, you even just want that validation, the gift of someone else listening to you. And then in other cases, if you are blessed with a coach who sees who you can become, which is my own case, then that's an extra gift because they can speak to that person you can become and talk to you beyond your current reality into the future that is possible if you take some decisive steps, right? And this is so powerful because we all have, the possibility of really stepping into a future that is better than what we have in our present reality and in our current life, right? But the gap between who you are today and who you can be is really wisdom. It's really a wisdom gap. And then, of course, taking that wisdom, applying it, using it, and getting results with it. Okay? So just spending the day with her yesterday, I was just like, coaching is such a powerful gift. It's such a big blessing because to hear someone who has walked your path or who sort of gets you and knows what you require to break into the next level, speak words of life to you is a real gift. And it's something we all should seek out for. I can just go on and on telling you about how it made me feel. I felt validated. I felt cared for. I felt instructed, and I felt inspired to actually press on into what is next in my own life. And that is the way that I keep myself fresh, because I'm also constantly sharing with others. And it's very important for me to never settle. I don't ever want to settle. And having a coach who herself is living an exponential life definitely helps me with that. So that's just to say, if you're not interacting with any degree of coaching in your life, you want to really begin to think about it. because that investment is not even, you know, something you want to negotiate. If you don't want to be locked in a small bubble, right? No matter how great you feel your life is, it's just a small bubble, because there are things you've never interacted with that are waiting within the realms of your future possibility that only coaching and mentoring unlocks for you. So for sure, that was just what came through, not because she said it, but because I experienced it and it was modeled to me. And just listening to her, I'm like, imagine if I didn't have this person to listen to. Especially because in my case, one of the occupational hazards of starting out early and being an inspiration to other people is that you will be locked up in a small bubble where you just feel like you're doing good and you're okay, right? But there are different degrees of okay. And I don't want to be stuck in a small place. Anyway, yeah, that's the first lesson. The second lesson was something very profound. She said, when she finished saying, I just put my hands on my head. I was like, what? Oh my God. It was so powerful. My heart was beating fast. I was just like, gosh, that is so good. And it makes sense to me because, interestingly, I came into 2020 when I went on my retreat at the start of the year before COVID locked us up. It was one of the things that God was saying to me in very, very clear terms. And here is what she said. Wait for it, because boom, it changed my life. And it's been buzzing on my mind since then. And I'm going to do a lot with it. She said, Debola, there are many gifted people. There's nothing extraordinary about being a gifted person, you know. So she said, there are many, many gifted people. In my generation, there were many gifted people. She said, in your generation, there are even more gifted people. And she said, you are also a gifted person, but there's nothing extraordinary about that, right? So she said, don't be super impressed with being gifted. She said, what makes a difference between two gifted people is the structure that they build around their gifts. My God, I felt like, what? That was so good. That was so powerful. She said, what really counts and makes a difference with a gifted person is the structure that they build around their gifts. And I'm just going to even make that like a general statement that is not really about, you know, those who feel gifted or those who feel like they're regular people. Every single person has a gift or gifts, right? And what matters is not even how many-sided you feel you are or how multi-gifted you feel you are. There are people who say, I'm so gifted that I can succeed with anything. Like, I'm just really gifted. I don't feel that way about myself. I feel like I'm just a regular person who gets a chance to do something epic if I apply myself to it and if I'm willing to serve and create value for others, for real. Yeah, so, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, you see. But she said the big deal that really leads us into success, that really leads us into a life of prosperity, allows us serve our purpose and exist in a zone of peace, right? She said it's really about building a structure around your gift, right? And I feel like what that speaks to is the moment you find your purpose or the moment you get on that journey where you see that there are things about you that stand you out, that give you an opportunity to serve others, or there are things about you that are like extraordinary endowments. Don't be super impressed about that. What matters more is the kind of structure that you can actually create to leverage that gift in terms of how it serves others, how it creates value for others, how it also allows you step into rest. She said, if we don't create a structure, or well, I deduce that, if you don't create a structure around your gift, you're going to be working with that gift in a way that is very manual, right? You're not going to be able to, there's a way structure or creating structure around your gift can really help you experience rest. Because the moment you have structure around your gift, you don't have to be there all the time and the gift is still going to be working, right? So everything around leveraging technology, building internal systems and processes, training team members, and yeah, mastering media, you know, and even setting yourself up within a career that improves your gifts and sharpens your competence. That's you building structure around it. So it's no longer in raw form. It becomes a sophisticated tool of adding value and receiving value. So if you ever think of becoming the person who constantly elevates your income, your influence, and your impact without ever trading the things that matter a lot to you. And you know that's my slogan. You know that's what matters to me. And I hope it does for you too. Then you want to build structure around your gift. And it ties to the first thing. If you are not getting coaching, it's going to be tough for you. If you're not getting coaching, you're not getting mentoring, and you're not accessing the knowledge that you need to be better, you are definitely going to miss out on what it takes to really build structure around your gift. And I'm going to then go on to the next thing, which is like 2B, before I go to the third thing. What she also started to touch on when she was talking about how everyone is gifted and how there's so many super smart, super passionate, super brilliant, super blessed people in every generation. What she went on to talk about was it's so important for you not to be high on your own supply. And she was saying, Debola, there's so many people I see in your own generation who are like very high on their own supply. They feel like they've really arrived when they've not even experienced what it means to move into the epic life, right? So she was saying that you have to stay grounded, you have to stay humble, you have to stay hungry, to learn. You've got to stay humble and hungry, right? And it's what I teach all the time. She said you can't afford to be high on your supply, especially if you're a gifted person. And she kept saying, you are a gifted person. I'm like, I don't know if I'm like a really gifted person in that sense, but I do know that God has been kind to me. He's blessed me and he's put his hands on me. And I consider that like a great sense of responsibility, because to whom much is given, much is expected. So she was saying, don't be high on your supply. Don't be super impressed with yourself. Keep an open mind and really go on a quest where you keep learning, where you keep knowing more, and where you stay open to the feedback that helps you become a better person. She said that a lot, and it just really resonated with me, and I feel like if an older person is looking at a generation and saying that there's so many people who are high on their supply, who are super impressed with themselves and who feel like they've arrived, then maybe it's a word for us. Maybe it's something we have to pay attention to and really like observe and pay closer attention and give keen observation to how we live our lives, right? Are we accessing, and a few things I can say to you straight up that can be like pointers for you to know if you are getting high on your supply or you are staying humble and hungry. And of course, the first will be, if we're learning, if you continue to access knowledge and you go in the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of coaching, the pursuit of mentorship, then you're saying that I know that there are things I don't know, that I need to become the person I desire to become, right? And then if we're keeping ourselves open to feedback, that's definitely something that is really important. And feedback doesn't have to come from people who are ahead of you only. It can come from people who are around you or people who are coming behind you. And that's definitely something that is important. And then a third thing is to move toward real change in our lives, change in our mindsets, change in our speech, change in our behavior, change in our investments, change in our habits, change in our relationships. Because if you are saying that you are growing, it means that there are some things you are leaving behind. And so on a regular basis, whether it's every month, every quarter, twice a year, right, with sufficient regularity, you want to sit with yourself and really do your self appraisals and be like, how am I getting better? What did I have, that I used to do before that I don't do anymore? What new ways am I thinking? What new ways am I spending money? What new ways am I investing money? What new ways am I growing in my relationships that are demonstrations that what I am learning, I am putting to use, and it's causing me to mature where maturity matters, right? So that's the second thing around, structuring your gift, building a structure around your gift. And I thought that was really brilliant. The third thing was she talked about navigating perceptions, right? And that one hit me in a different way because honest truth is I can sometimes come across as maybe like I could sometimes be perceived as a cold person or someone who is not like, I don't know, maybe some of my friends feel like I'm distant or I don't go as deep as they want me to go, or I don't wear my love on my sleeves, but the honest truth is I am a genuine lover. I might not be like super, super friendly, chummy, yummy, visity, but I'm loyal. And when I commit myself to a person, I am there, right? I pray for them. I think about how I can be of value to them. I promote their cause, and I offer my own platforms in any way that I can to share the brilliant things that they're doing and all of that, right? But she said to me, Debola, because you're a really, I don't know, I don't want to use the words in that sense because I don't feel like I'm anything special. But here's the deal. She was basically saying people are going to gravitate toward you because they love you. Of course, they're also going to gravitate toward you because of their own interest and what they want. And, sometimes they just are looking for a strong figure to center them in their own lives or validate them. And she said, I'm not asking you to change. You are still going to be you and loving the way that you know how to. But you've got to learn to also navigate perceptions. And to navigate perceptions, you have to understand expectations. And I thought, oh my God, that was so good. So you're saying that in the context of different kinds of relationships and alliances, you've got to be super clear what people expect from those relationships, right? So that you can know if you would be able to offer those kind of support. So if you're getting into newer friendships, people are coming to you for different reasons, and they are believing that you can be a blessing to them in a certain way or another. You've got to have those conversations up front where you're saying, we love ourselves, we're committed to ourselves, but what does friendship mean to you? And what does it mean to me? Right? And in hearing them out, you may get a sense of what you'll be able to do and what you won't be able to do. I have never thought about that in my life. I was just like, oh my God, when a person becomes my friend, my understanding and my expectation is that we'll be on the same page, that I love you, and you are not going to judge me for ways that I can be friends with you because I'm not judging you for ways you can be friends to me, right? But she was like, no, people have expectations. And if those expectations are not met, they build perceptions. They think you're holding back because of this reason or that reason. My God, my mind was buzzing. I was like, this is so good. And I feel like it maybe even speaks to women so much more than men. I don't know. I just feel that way. But let me know, just talk to me in the comment section after you listen through. Let me know if you've ever been in a place where you were perceived differently that you really were and it hurt you or not, right? And let me know if you find this to be like a miracle answer. I felt like this was just such a brilliant formula because she said the way to navigate perception is primarily being clear on expectations, having conversations around expectations, and committing to what you can do and who you can be or otherwise, right? So I felt like that was powerful, not just even for friendship, even for mentoring relationships, even for coaching relationships. So when people come to you and they sign up to something you're doing, you want to really know why. You want to know how they are thinking you can help them because it shapes how you can really help them and what kind of perceptions they take away if they feel like those expectations were met or otherwise. Boom. I thought that was, oh my God. I just had my hands on my head so many times. My mind was buzzing. It was so good. It was just so good. And guess what? In the midst of the conversation, then she serves me chicken sauce that she made herself. Like I feasted on smoked chicken with fantastic sauce. And my God, every part of yesterday was so good. It was so good. So imagine I was having a great meal with lemon infused water that was cold. The atmosphere was beautiful. The fragrance was all over me. I mean, look at that. Who wouldn't want to just revel in the miracle of that day? And it felt like she was just giving me all her attention in that moment, speaking into my soul, speaking into my future. And I love her so dearly. Let me talk to you about the fourth thing that she shared with me. That was just, she shared so many things with me. But this number four, like you owe me some money for this one because it was really good. I'm kidding. The fourth thing she shared with me was you have a responsibility to crack your mold. She said every single person has a mold. We all have a mental mold, right? That is fixed. It's like um it's like a mental ideology or mental wall or mental defense, I don't know what to call it, that we build. It's a deep-seated, almost immovable attitude to life and perception about things. And you know that I have taught again and again and again, especially for those in the immersed inner circle, about subconscious conditioning, about programming, about mental attitudes. You know that I love to teach about this, but it just hit me in a really different way, because she said basically that we all have these mental molds that are like mental structures. A way we see the world, a way we see ourselves, a way we see money, a way we see people, that is deeply ingrained because we have made a practice of believing those ideologies and, thought patterns that we don't argue with them anymore, and they shape our outcomes. So she said one of the biggest commitments that you're going to make in your life is to change your own narrative, to shift your own narrative, right? And she didn't say the other things I want to say, but I'm just going to take her life and a few other of my mentors as an example of what I want to crack for you. But I get a sense that there are a few things that can really help you crack your mold, that can help you push beyond the barriers that exist in your mind. And it's just by looking at her, looking at my other mentors, what they do, and what I even have found to work in my life. The first is the type of knowledge that you are interacting with determines the type of world that you are exposing yourself to. And this one is so good, right? So if you are reading the thoughts of a person who is broken out of financial limitation in their minds, they are going to expose you to the world according to the lens of a financially liberated mind. Do you understand? If you are reading the book of written by a person who has stepped into the power of vulnerability, knows how to navigate intimacy, and understands how to give and receive love in relationships, right? If you're reading their book, you're going to be seeing the world from the lens of a person who has stepped into that kind of power. Do you understand this? If you're reading a book written by a spiritually mature believer who is walking in encounters with God, if you're not there, you're going to be seeing the world from the lens of a spiritually vibrant person. You're going to be experiencing what encounters look like from the lens of their lives. Do you understand this? So when we're reading a book, we're not just gaining access to information, we are gaining front row access to the world of a person from their liberated lens, right? Everybody has molds and belief systems that are limiting and programming, right? But a way to cure your own programming is to go find someone who has cured their own programming in that area. Do you understand this? So I do know that my coach invests in reading so much, right? She's reading global leaders. She's the leader in her industry across Africa, and she's still always consuming content about how her profession is being done in Peru, it's been done in Europe, it's been done all across other parts of Africa or Asia, those sort of things, because she just wants to keep a view that is global, that is not limited by being in Nigeria or by being a Nigerian, as an example. And I see my mentors do this a lot, and it's the game changer for me. That is why I always say to my coaching clients and you people who are in my coaching community that it's not enough to read and listen to podcasts, right? I think we've done a disservice to you by just saying, go read, reading is important. Reading is important, but the type of reading that produces results, the type of listening to podcasts that produces results is the one that creates a connection point between what your needs are and what transformation looks like from the person who's experienced it. So it's important for you to grow your self-awareness to the point where you know what your molds are, and you go for the type of knowledge that breaks you out of that mold, because you're looking at life and the world from the lens of someone who has been liberated in that particular area. So I know they do that a lot. Traveling to other parts of the world also breaks you out of your mold, right? Expanding your relationships to start to engage people who are, you know, whose today look like a future, right? Whose today look like the tomorrow you desire. It's also a really powerful thing. And that is where, again, masterminds, coaching communities, coaching sports, and new friendships definitely come in. I thought that was really powerful, that I have the responsibility to crack my own molds, right? She even shared with me. Let's talk finally about something she said, number 5, that I thought is a message for my whole generation. And it was really about the power of authenticity, the power of authenticity. She said, the pressure to perform, the pressure to appear a certain way always creates inauthenticity, right? And she said there's so many inauthentic young people who are just trying to be someone else or appear to be a certain way just because they want to, you know, they want to, what's the word now? They want to be received a certain way, or they want to be perceived a certain way. And she says it's so unsafe because nobody produces their best work in inauthenticity. It is authenticity that fuels creativity. Do you understand? Because it's an acceptance of who you are that causes you to create and to produce based on that person. Our best work is very connected to our sense of identity, what we say about ourselves, what we believe about ourselves. And I thought, oh my God, that is so good, right? That is so good. And you know, one of the pathways that we have in the Immerse Inner Circle is called the Clarify pathway. And that's where we focus on self-discovery, personal identity, and life clarity. It's where we really focus on identity, knowing you and leveraging you. And in one of my premium signature courses called Unbundling 2020 Coaching Program, I have a segment where I teach on the 8 big matrix for personal power. And I show you the 8 things that you have as a part of your signature that is just so important to master and to leverage. So I got what she was saying with this. She said, Debola, authenticity is a powerful thing, right? Because it always flows through. You know, authenticity is a vibe. Inauthenticity is also a vibe. You might think that you're well made up and you're sounding good and you look good, but if you're not speaking from a place of conviction, and if you're not living your life from a place of truth, a place of genuineness, a place of sincerity, where you are one, your words are one with your conviction, your life is one with your belief system, and what you are doing is a reflection of what you truly believe, right? Not trying to prove a point. She said those things are vibes and they always flow out. And she said that I got a sense beyond what she said, that the way, this is me speaking now, the way, especially if you believe you're a visionary, right? And you have something to offer people, the way your own people find you is by authenticity. They listen to you and they feel like, I get her, she gets me, we are of the same tribe. My God, I was like, this is really big and this is really good. And I loved every part of it. So those are 5 big insights that my coach and mentor shared with me during our date yesterday. I'm super thankful to her. She knows that I'm crazy about her. I've learned some of my biggest lessons from her. And she's an Amazon herself. She's a stalwart. And yeah, I love her. I'm going to send this video to her as well, so she gets a sense of how powerful our session was. Anyway, 5 things that I took out from my coaching session yesterday. Number 1 is the sheer gift of coaching. Number 2 is learning to build a structure around your gift. Number 3 is learning to navigate perceptions. Number 4 is the responsibility to crack your mold. And number 5 is the power of authenticity. I hope that this has been of value to you. If it has been, for sure, please leave a comment and let me know what hit you most, what your big thoughts are, and also let me know if you can tell me who I was speaking about in the video, my coach and mentor. Let's see what you might get for getting the right answer. Okay, I'm leaving you with this final quote from Nelson Mandela. It hits me all the time, and I'm happy to share with you. It says that sometimes it falls on a generation to be great, and that generation can be you. You can choose to be that generation. And then he said, let your greatness blossom. So it's falling on our generation to be great, and we are choosing to be that great generation. Okay, I'll see you soon. Have yourself a really beautiful day and go on with the lessons that I've shared with you today. Bye.